That God is waiting for us to take the first step. And when we talk about first steps, we usually talk about acknowledgement. That God is literally waiting for us to acknowledge, God, I hear you. And once we acknowledge, God, that I hear you, then God will begin to reveal the map and the compass for our journey. Many of us, because of the way we've been trained, think that we need to premeditate and presuppose what the end will be so that we can work our way backwards. We need to create a strategic plan. We need to create an outline. We need to know what the introduction is. We need to know what the three proofs are and the conclusion. We need to have all this systematically arranged before we can undertake the journey that God has us on. So God, before I can move in that direction, you got to tell me what the finish is, what the end may be. But God says what the elders often say, that in the fullness of time, all things will be revealed. In the fullness of time, all things will be revealed. What does that mean? That means that as you begin to walk with God, God will begin to share with you glimpses of what you need to know to keep you motivated, to keep one foot in front of the other. Because if God revealed the whole thing up front, you may not even know. If God revealed the whole thing up front, you may be so in awe of what God will use you for that you may not even look for it. So God gives you just enough to start the moment. And as you get to that first base, God will give you just enough more momentum to get to second base. And God will even in that mix reveal to you that there's really not just 4 bases, there's 14 bases that nobody else can see but you. And in that vision, God will allow you to know not only that you are uniquely and independent of everyone else, but that you are a piece to God's infinite puzzle. That you are valuable. That you have currency. That you matter. That you are important. Not only to your family, not only to your congregation, not only to your community, not only to the kingdom of God, but to God himself. That God created you. God makes no mistakes. So there's a purpose and a plan for you to be in the mosaic. So when you acknowledge that, then God gives you just a little bit more to keep you moving. Moses went through all kinds of stuff. Watching water turn to blood, and dealing with frogs, and dealing with gnats, and dealing with flies, and dealing with livestock, and dealing with boils, and dealing with fire, and locusts, and darkness. Moses dealt with all kinds of crazy stuff. But every step along the way, God was there. That's what our faith is for. To help us, to motivate us through our vision. Through the trials and tribulations come intimacy with God. People ask, why do we have to go through so much hardship and pain, so much hurt, so much frustration, being let down, and having our expectations fail? And part of it is simple. The first is because Jesus went through it. Jesus went through it. So if we're going to be like Jesus, we have to wrestle with it. But the second reason, and I think the one that actually resonates, is that it's in those moments where you actually realize the realness of God. When you are down, when it seems like nobody else can step in and help you, you're forced to get on your knees and cry out, "Oh God, I need you now." When there's not enough money, when there's not enough food, there's not enough clothing, there's not enough shelter, when there's not enough wisdom, not enough understanding, not enough of these things that you have come used to having. And you don't have enough, you have to rely on God. And it's in those moments that God shows up and your intimacy with God moves another direction. We learned this on Friday, that as you spend more time with God, as you fall deeper in love with God, your desire to please God grows even more. And as your desire to please God grows even more, those decisions that you make, you find they resonate even more with the will of God. So what is the focus of the equation? It's realizing that your times of trouble are moments where God is waiting to spend some time with you. Your times of moments is where God is waiting to spend some time with you. Moses wrestled with God. Moses told God all the reasons why he was not the right person. But in the end, Moses gave in. And Moses was the one to save his people. Just like we eventually will give in and accomplish the goals that God has for us. Why? Because God is greater than we. Our vision at Community of Love is to model a diverse community of love, grounded in faith, and committed to both prayer and action. That's our vision. That's the specific vision that God gave for this household, to model a diverse community of love, grounded in faith, and committed to both prayer and action. That is our vision. That's our vision. And as we make decisions in terms of how we're going to grow the ministry, as we make decisions in terms of what programmatic needs we have and programmatic concerns we have, as we make decisions about how fast or how slow we move and how much we accomplish and how much we don't accomplish, we will hold ourselves accountable to the vision that God has given this household. So we don't replicate. We don't create things that everybody wishes they had. We don't find ourselves in competition with other people. We're not trying to grow seat warmers. We're not trying to fill the capacity so everybody can come by and say that's the quickest growing church in Massachusetts. What we aim to do is to model a diverse community of love, grounded in faith and committed to both prayer and action. That's who we are. That's why God has called us to be. And we've stumbled. We've had some burps, as it were. We've had some growing pains, as it were. We've had some obstacles, as it were. But I thank God that as we move to the close of the incubation period, and I thank God for Reverend Stephanie Neal Johnson, who continues to remind me that we're carrying a baby, that this community of love is a baby that we need to nurture and protect, and to wrap our arms around it and keep it warm and snuggle and cuddle. That as we close this 9th month and begin to reap the harvest of what God has birthed here, that we don't lose sight of the vision. That as folks come and bring wonderful, gorgeous ideas and resources and expertise and experiences and all kinds of stuff, that we don't lose sight of God's vision. To model a diverse community of love, grounded in faith, and committed to both prayer and action. Collectively, that's our vision. I want you to ponder over the next week, what is your vision? What is the vision for your life? What has God given you that you're wrestling and tussling with? What is the vision that God has placed on your